Welcome along to What's the Word in association with Ladbrokes. I'm David Jennings from the Racing Post, and to preview a cracking weekend of action, we have got an all-star cast. We've got Brendan Duke, we've got Nicola McGeady from our sponsors Ladbrokes, and we have got, after his explosive debut last weekend, 2 out of his 3 best bets won, 4 out of his 5 tips at Tipperary on Sunday won. It's Mr. Gavin Lynch.
Dave,
what a day.
Sure. Every dog has his day, don't they?
Yeah, you're very calm and subdued. I'm bigging this up, like. I'm sure you made a huge profit on the day.
A few quid. You tipped up Snow Falcon and the winner of the Arc.
Yeah, it's safe to say What's the Word viewers were in clover last weekend. Yeah. But before we give them a few tips for this weekend, we're going to have our quick fire questions, and the first of our questions is for you, Gavin Lynch. If you could only have one bet for the 2020 Cheltenham Festival and it had to be placed today, what would you put it on?
I like Envoy Allen for the Ballymore today in a Ladbroke shop. I'm doing it back Envoy Allen at 8s. I backed Blue Sari, who was second to him in the champion bumper for the Supreme, and I did a double the two of them.
Oh, nice.
8s and 16s.
Oh, that'd be
I
worth
just
it.
think the bumper farm was good, and I think they're 2 nice horses.
Excellent, that'd be worth a few good to you. Yeah,
I think
nice.
Envoy Allen will step up to the Ballymore trip. So.
Beautiful horse, yeah. Brendan Duke, your question is, and I'm not, if I gave you a blank cheque to buy any jumps horse right now, who would you purchase?
Well, Gavin has teed it up for me with this Envoy Allen. Such an exciting horse, massive physical phenom, evidently jumped very well on debut because they spent all the money on him, so we're fairly confident he can jump. And I just, you are going to sort this out for me actually, but I'd like to ask Jamie Codd, is the horse claustrophobic? Because he's given him 3 very unusual rides in his 4 bumper runs. A tour of Fairyhouse on his bumper debut, a tour of Leopardstown when he won, and a tour of the old course in Cheltenham, which is normally disastrous. And the horse still managed to overcome it. And you just got the sense when Blue Sari came to him that he's just a horse he'll keep finding and keep. He's a very hard horse to get to the bottom of, and a hugely exciting prospect.
You're right, because I like you so much, I'm going to ask Jamie Codd if Envoy Allen is in fact claustrophobic. So that is the horse Brendan Duke wants to buy. It's Envoy Allen. Nicola McGeady, last weekend from a Ladbrokes perspective, it was gut-wrenching. That final furlong when Walgeist swooped late to conquer. But just how good was it from a Ladbrokes perspective?
We're definitely not going to be gloating about
Go on,
this
rub
one.
it in.
No, we're not. You know, would have been one result we would have been happy to pay out with a smile. She was definitely the most popular horse since See the Stars won it 10 years ago. Would have been one of the worst results in ARC history. And obviously Frankie Dettori, we did that documentary with him during the week at home with Frankie, so we were all behind and able, despite the bad result it would have been. So no, we're not happy, we're not gloating, David.
I watched that documentary with you and Frankie, which was excellent. Now, I have to say, if you haven't seen it, go onto YouTube, watch Nicola with Frankie Dettori. But you know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see Nicola McGeady with Frankie Dettori this week, because I think that would be a show in itself. Awkward silence.
Wouldn't fancy that one.
No, you'd have your work cut out there, I think. So it's time to move on to Saturday's action, and what a feast we have in store. The feature race is at 3:30 at Newmarket. It is the Group 1 Darley Dewhurst Stakes, and we get another glimpse of the phenomenal Pin at Tubo. Nicola McGeady, just how short is he with Ladbrokes?
4 to 11, but we are top price because we think since Wachita was supplemented for the race, it has kind of changed the picture of it. Wachita looks a very good horse, as seen winning the Tattersall Stake by 7 lengths. That was over course and distance last time out. But Pinatubo was unbelievable in Ireland. Probably the most money we've seen for a 2,000 guineas horse. Such a rush at the time. 5 to 4, shortest price I can remember for the 2,000 guineas, and that will probably shorten up. If you do fancy an upset with Cheetahs in there at 100 to 30, I can't imagine many will. But we are offering something else, winning distance special. I know you love one of those. Pinatubo was 8 to 11 to win by 2 lengths or more. Or will we see another unbelievable display over 7 lengths or more is 7 to 1.
Oh God, we're not going to see over 7 lengths, are we, in that course at Newmarket?
I wouldn't rule that out with this horse.
You know, you look at Pinatubo's performance at the Curragh, Brendan, and is it one of these occasions where, you know, when you're in college and you went on a night out and you got with the girl that you wanted to get with, and then you woke up the next morning and you kind of go, did that actually happen?
Oh yeah.
And in many cases for me, it didn't happen. Was it too good to be true, or are we seeing something incredibly special? Like, is he better than Frankel?
Well, I think he's a better 2-year-old than Frankel. I mean, there was a bookie after the Curragh quoted 33 to 1 for him to achieve a career high rating of 140, and I'd say that's a short price. Because of course Frankel was a work in progress as a 2-year-old because he pulled so hard they had to get him to settle
gradually.
Yeah, whereas Pinatubo was a real pro, but he's the best 2-year-old I've seen since Arazi. Absolute phenom. Broke the clock in Ascot, broke the clock in Goodwood, and then broke it twice at the Curragh. And I expect to see another scintillating performance on Saturday.
Oh, we like them superlatives. Gavin, you're the calm one. You're the one that doesn't like hyperbole. You like to say it as it is. How good is Pinatubo?
Yeah, no, he looks exceptional. Can't think of a better 2-year-old in the last, say, 5-10 years. But 3-year-old is where it's at, so I just pray he trains on. He does look exceptional. It's the rating 128. He'll win again tomorrow. Yeah, he looks amazing.
Okay, so I have 2 questions for our panel. First of all, how many lengths is he going to win by? And second of all, who's going to finish second? So we'll go with the lengths first. How many lengths did he win by?
4 lengths.
Nicola?
2 lengths.
3.
A length and 3/4. Who's going to finish second?
I'd say Wichita.
Definitely.
Wichita?
Yeah.
I'd give Arizona a chance. He won the Coventry, 4th in heavy ground in France, 3rd the last day in the Curragh. Brendan went on with the known knowns and the unknown knowns last week. I think that's maybe why Ryan Moore is right in Wichita, because he does know that, that maybe that could beat Pinatubo. But I just thought Arizona would be second or third.
I'm going to put up Monarch of Egypt to finish second. I spoke to Aidan this morning for the preview, and I just got the impression that, well, not the impression, he actually said it, that Monarch of Egypt and Arizona are both going to step forward significantly from their last runs. So I'm going to put forward Monarch of Egypt for the forecast. So that is the Group 1 Darley Dewhurst Stakes at 3:30 at Newmarket. 40 minutes later, it is the Emirates Cesar, which is just a little bit trickier, just the 31 runners, no odds on favourite. Nicola, how is the market shaping?
Obviously, it's very competitive. Build Me Up Buttercup has been cut into 4-1, clear favourite now for Willie Mullins. He was second at Royal Ascot, won at the Galway Festival, and then had another second there at Leopardstown last month. Land of Oz looks very progressive as well, as in there at 13-2. But the one that most money has come for really would be Ranch Hand throughout the week. 8-1 from 10-1 for Andrew Balding, and Oisin Murphy's back on board after that impressive win at Haydock. If you're looking down the line, there's some bigger prices such as Time to Study, who's in very good form right now, 25-1, and Eddystone Rock as well is worth noting at 25-1. Last 2 outings, you'll see this trip and ground, everything shouldn't be a concern.
Gavin Lynch, is Build Me Up Buttercup going to break Frankie Dettori's heart for the second weekend in a row? That was a pity laugh. That wasn't a proper laugh. That was a pity laugh.
It was a pity laugh.
That was quite good, I
There's
thought.
some boy for puns.
Yeah.
Willie Mullins in these staying flat handicaps, he's just brilliant at them. So you have to have huge respect. If the ground's going to end up, good to soft or soft, is Build Me Up Buttercup definitely going to stay? You could argue that it did or it didn't in Ascot. Looked at winning a furlong out, and that was 2.5, so it's 2-2. I fancy Greg Norman in the race.
Oh, Great White Shark.
Yes, well done.
Yeah.
How did you know that? Great White Shark. Willie Mullins is the other one. Won the GPT, came around the world in the GPT in Galway. Jody Townend rode it. It won that off 80, it runs off 89 in Newmarket. It'll definitely stay. Has been beaten twice over hurdle since, but that doesn't matter. And I would give Great Trango, another great Trango, a small bit of a chance. England's version of Tony Martin has 2 in a Timoshenko, Land of Oz. They must have a chance, but I go for Great White Shark each way and Great Trango each way.
That's Mark Prescott for viewers that didn't understand you there.
Sorry.
I'm going to go for Ireland's version of Tony Martin, which is in fact Tony Martin, because I think Mr. Everest is well handicapped here. He's only £5 higher than the mark. He won the November handicap off at Naas last year, and John Egan is on board for the first time since. Now, Brendan Duke, you love a race like this, which you love plotting through the numbers, the figures, and finding something at a big price. Have you done it for us again? I
certainly have. I've been waiting for you, Billy Ray. Trading Places fans will remember that. And this Billy Ray, with this 50-1, you are spoiling us, Nicola McGeady. I don't know where they've come up with 50-1. I think it's based on the fact that he blew out. He was last on his last effort at Ascot. He finished last.
Well, that could be it.
But it's only 1 run, and his 3 visits to Ascot, he's blown out. He doesn't seem to like Ascot at all. Now they may have found a physical issue because he's had a wind up, and they're employing Visor tomorrow, but everything else stacks up. His previous second to Withhold is really strong form at Newbury, and he may have been disadvantaged by track position there. There's 10 mils of rain due before and during racing at Newmarket tomorrow. Loves cutting the ground. Shapes like he wants the extra 2 furlongs. The boy Scott McCullough taking off a handy £5 as well. Just 50-1. Story does not check out, David.
Okay, so there you go. Billy Ray for Brendan Duke. Nicola, who are you siding with?
Ranch Hand.
Ranch Hand. Gavin?
Great White Shark.
And it is Mount Everest for me. So that is the Emirates Cesar, which at 4:10 at Newmarket on Saturday. Now we've got action at Newmarket, we've got action at York, we've got jumping action at Chepstow. Nicola, I know there's a lot of races priced up? Has there been money for anything in particular with Labrocks?
Silver Trophy, such a difficult handicap, but the one we've seen most support for is Beaufort West for Colin Tizard at 6-1, and then in the Coral Rockingham Stakes, Lampang's been very strong favourite all week, backed right down to 6-4, clear favourite, 2 out of 2 now so far for Tim Easterby.
Excellent. I want you to find a price for me while the lads are talking. Bold Plan in the Silver Trophy for me, if that's all right, because I think that's going to win.
7-1.
7-1, Bold Plan, Silver Trophy. Evan Williams and Adam Wedge get on. Right, lads, we've also got Irish action at Fairyhouse and Limerick on Saturday. Gavin, this is Gavin Lynch written all over it. Fairyhouse, Limerick, Saturday, Gavin Lynch. Go.
I like Fairyhouse, don't like Limerick, don't like back and flat horse on heavy ground. A couple of good races down there. Pink Dogwood tries to re-establish herself, and in the last race, Dare to Flare, if it doesn't blow the start like it normally does, I might back that and run him, but I'm going to stay away from Limerick.
Okay, Fairyhouse then?
Bucky's Dream with heavy ground. Tintangle win the first, Champagne Classic probably win the second. It was placed in 2 good races last spring. The bet of the day is Daylight Katie in the third, that will win. Previously ridden by its owner David Dunstan. In bumpers, I don't want to say too much about David Dunstan, I'm sure he's a very nice chap, that he's a better jockey than I'll ever be, so good on him.
She lost the bout, I'd say.
He won a bumper on it, was placed then in Aintree in Punchestown. I think it's going to be a really good horse.
Daylight Katie.
Daylight Katie.
Remember the name?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be a top horse.
Okay.
I hope one of the reserves from Mouse Morris gets in to give us a better price, but maybe it won't. Point out a couple of others there for you. Quamino has a chase rate in 137, runs tomorrow of 109, that's £28, so that must have a chance back over hurdle. Same for Select Opportunity, runs off 80, has a chase rate now of 102. It won in Sligo. The trainer said he didn't think it was fully ready. It travelled very well, and I'll definitely back Euro Tiep if it's value in the bumper. It was second in Listowel over 2.5 to Shanwalla that ran well since. Patrick takes over from Aubrey McMahon. Patrick's a better jockey, so I'm going to back Euro Tiep in the bumper.
Excellent. So there's just the 5 winners for you at Fairyhouse on Saturday. Brendan Duke, anything you like in Ireland on Saturday?
Just the one in the 310 in Limerick, the Duzart. This is a listed race. Pink Dogwood is dropping in grade, but I don't think she's trying a yard, so she'll be making the market, so I wanted to back something. And the Duzart fits the profile. It's not much of a race outside of her. He's won his last 2. The win in Naas on penultimate start couldn't have worked out better. Actually, his Ulster Derby win could have worked out better, but I still think he's a horse going places. Seems ground versatile, remorseless galloper. The heavy ground will really bring his stamina into play, and he can pick up a very winnable opportunity here.
Excellent. So that is the Duzart in the, have we got a time? 3:15, I think.
3:10 in
3:10 at Limerick on Saturday. So now it's time for our Saturday bankers, folks. We'll kick off with you, Brendan Duke.
Billy Ray, 410 Newmarket.
Nicola McGeady.
Lampang in the Coral Rockingham Stakes.
Gavin Lynch.
I was going to say Daylight Katie, but the price will probably be odds on, so that's no good. Euro Tiep maybe in the bumper tomorrow in Fairyhouse.
Okay, and I'm going to take on Brendan with Mr. Everest in the Everett Cesarewitch, the 410 at Newmarket, so you can decide whether you want to go with Brendan or myself. I think we know what viewers are going to do.
Back both.
Yeah, I'd say they'll probably go for Brendan. So moving on to Sunday's action, and I love when there's a good Sunday card in Ireland, because you know when you wake up after Saturday's action, you're kind of wondering, oh, I should have done that, and oh, I wish I had the day back again. When you've got good racing in Ireland on a Sunday, it's fantastic. The day goes so much quicker. So we've got brilliant action at Limerick, we've got action at the Curragh, and of course at Limerick, it is the Labrocks sponsored JT McNamara Munster National 4:35. And Nicola McGeady, it is an ultra competitive affair.
It is indeed, and there's been money in the last couple of hours for Snugsborough Benny, being backed into 7-2 from 9-2 favourite now. He was third in the Galway Plate. Enda Bulger's move with the times was second favourite, but is on the drift now at 13-2. Very disappointing in the Kerry National for many punters who there was a bit of a plunge on him that day. The one I like is Internal Transfer, who's moved into second favourite position at 6-1, who ran a very good race, fourth in the Kerry National, jumped, travelled really nicely and caught my eye, and I think there's more improvement to come, so that would be my fancy.
Internal Transfer. And she just stole your lines, Gavin.
Yep.
You're an internal transfer
Are you looking at my tips here?
I
just said something else there, go on.
I really fancy Internal Transfer. It's 3 from 3. It's 3 from 3 at the track. It's won on all types of ground, including heavy. It's won over 2 mile 6. I'd have a slight worry whether it's definitely going to stay 3 mile, but the downhill finish will suit. Puppy Power, I'm sure Puppy watched this programme. Please, Puppy, come late on Internal Transfer.
Avid follower of the show.
I'd say so. It jumps a little bit to its right. If you look at its 2 chase wins in Limerick, the last couple of fences, it kind of head on. You can see it. He jumps to his right. In Listowel, he didn't jump much to his right, just a little bit, but Jonathan Moore went to the front far too soon. Like, he hit the front a mile out, went 5 clear, tied up after they turned in. So if Puppy can
here.
if internal transfer, if Puppy can hold on to it late, I think that has a big chance.
Okay, internal transfer, ringing endorsement from Nicola McGeady and Gavin Lynch. Brendan Duke, what do you like in the Munster National?
I'm interested in this Nambor 20-1. You may remember Nambor from back in 2016.
The artist formerly known as a Mouse Morris trained horse, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty promising. He ran into some good horses. Well, I've always looked a chaser.
He ran the Albert Bartlett as well, didn't he?
He must be the biggest horse in training.
He is a big unit, so you would, well, like all the Gigginstown horses, you'd expect him to make a chaser. And he looked like he was going to make a chaser until he fell at Navan. He actually jumped really well up to that, and in a really silly fall, he just clipped the top and couldn't get his landing gear. I suppose a classic novice fall. I mean, that happened to Undersow actually, so it can happen to the best jumpers. But he's off 132 here, which, if the ability remains, and we don't know because he fell 5 out, so he could have disappeared out the back of the telly. But he travelled really well that day, and if the ability remains, a mark for 132 is a really dangerous one. 20-1 about a Gordon Elliott trained horse in a Munster National. Oh.
Okay, so it's Nambor for Brendan Duke. It's 2 votes for internal transfer from Nicola and Gavin, and as my beautiful wife Aoife will tell you, forgiveness is my biggest trait. Forgiven her many's a time. So I'm going to go for move with the time. So I think you can possibly forgive the run in the Kerry National. It was all just happening a bit quick there. I think if he gets into a rhythm, he could be one more chance for Enda Bulger and Mark Walsh. So the feature race at the Curragh on Sunday is a Tote Irish Cesarewitch. A tricky handicap. Nicola, how did they bet?
David's Charm 6-1 favourite. Rock de Bon is in there at 8-1, and Golden Spear, one I think you likes, 14-1.
Yes, 14-1 Golden Spear. I think it's going to be a massive weekend for Tony Martin and John Breslin. A big Cesarewitch double with Mount Everest and Golden Spear. Gavin, do you agree?
No, but I can.
That's fine. Yeah, it's game.
Maybe see your point of view. Yeah.
What do you like in the Irish equivalent?
I like the horse named after your engagement video.
What's that?
Have you seen it?
David's Charm, yeah, I did.
My engagement
it was very
video?
charming.
Yeah. You should put it up on Facebook.
The
men will hate
It's
you.
one of the only occasions in life where you can actually be romantic.
Yeah, you were romantic. Fair play.
Was it?
Very romantic.
So I'm going for David's Charm. It's in here off 84. Was unlucky at the Curragh there in the summer. Was unlucky again in the Galway Hurdle. Travelled brilliant when I won Listowel. Had an exercise canter for a lot of money last Sunday when Rachel Blackmore and Barry Geraghty just went bananas on Petit Mouchoir and Ballyosheen. It was strange to watch. David's Charm was a £3 better hurdler than Seglau, but gets £3 plus Gavin Ryan claims 5. He had a winner last week.
Proper young jockey.
Yeah, he's a good lad. Seglawi has a chance. Roy Lade have a chance stepping up in trip, getting the £9 age allowance, and so would Red Jerry. But I'll go for David's Charm in an open race.
David's Charm for Gavin Lynch. What for you, Brendan Duke?
It's an open race, so I'm going to split stakes, if you'll indulge me, on 2 horses.
Perfectly fine, yeah.
Okay, the first one is Nessun Dorma, far from exposed, despite being a 6-year-old. I think he's only had 14 runs. Ran really well in a hot handicap at Leopardstown on Irish Champions Weekend. Finished 5th, disadvantaged by track position. You had to be handy in that race. It's already starting to work out, and I expect that form to continue to work out. He's up 2.5 furlongs in trip. He gets softer ground. He'll like all of that. And off the same mark as the Leopardstown run, I just think he has to go close. And it's hard to ignore the 3-year-old's Red Jerry. Red Jerry ran a really good race back in April, and then he kind of disappeared for a few runs, but he's back. He won a maiden in Tipperary by about 5 lengths. Then he backed it up by finishing second to a progressive rival in the Stole. 3 lengths clear the third. He shapes like a horse who will relish this trip. He's up a half a mile in trip. You can't guarantee that he'd stay, but he really, his run style suggests he's a grinder. And getting the 3-year-old allowance, I think he's got a big chance.
Okay,
I look forward to him going hurdling.
Red Jerry, you think you make a hurdler?
Yeah.
And Noel Mead's team are in cracking form. What for you, Nick Lanny selection in this?
I think Jukey has me convinced to back Nessun Dorma, 10-1.
He's quite convincing, isn't he? Yeah. Nessun Dorma, okay, and it is Golden Spear for me. What are you going to say?
Dave, you were saying before that Davey, Dukey would make a good solicitor or barrister.
Yeah, I think Brendan Duke, you're lost in this profession. I know you tip plenty of winners, but I would like you fighting my case if I didn't pay a parking fine.
Well, I'd like to be a barrister, actually. I love the smell of coffee.
Yeah. Oh, that could get us in trouble. And the rest of the action in Ireland on Sunday, Gavin, now come on, right? Last week, 4 out of 5 with Tipperary, 2 out of 3 are best bets won. People are ringing me, texting me all week saying, is Gavin back on the show? Here you are. You just need to back it up. It's like pin it to
No
You
pressure.
don't mind doing it
No
once, you
pressure.
have to keep doing it.
Beginner's luck.
Ireland on Sunday, give us Give us 5 winners this week, please.
I don't like the Curragh card at all. Again, it's soft ground. I think it doesn't suit punting for flat horses. I like Downforce in the 6 furlong conditions race. Had a good run the last day behind Josephs, who ran well in Longchamp.
Speaking colours, yep.
Yeah, so Downforce ran well. Make a Challenge, who did a few favours, including myself over the summer, went from 66 to 109. I think that's over 3 stone of a rise. I think he'll struggle against the better horse, but Downforce for me in the Curragh.
Excellent.
And in Limerick, I think Western Victory will win. I'm going to say she's a little bit like Solarina because she's a mare that goes in front. Calm down. She's not as good as Solarina. She won't be half as good. But she's.
You back that up very quickly there.
Yeah, because you'd interrupt with a big word or two. She's 2 from 2 since joining Declan Queally. Last week when she won in Gorham Park over 2 miles, Sean Flanagan said that she wants further and she wants softer ground, like she had at Galway. Even though she has to give the weight away, I think she'll win.
I'm going to take you on there with Black Tears. Go on.
Okay. That's back after 1 run, yeah. Theatre World, 2nd and 2 champion hurdles. You'd have to back that off 1-0.
Yeah, from 20 years ago.
Just testing
2
people's
names,
memory.
Yeah. Ross O'Sullivan is the trainer of the horse.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So Theatre World changed tactics the last day in Navan. It seemed to work very well. It's only gone up £6 to 104. It carries the bottom weight of 10 stone 5, I think, on Sunday Limerick. So if they get to make all, I'd see that having a chance as well.
Excellent. Brendan Duke, what do you like on Sunday?
Couple in the Curragh, the 205 Lady Jane Wild. I spent a few quid on her, hoping she'd handle the quicker ground in Irish Champions Weekend. I don't think she handled it at all. But I
Hated it.
Quite possibly, but I will take her to confirm the spectacular visual impression of her 7 furlong maiden win at the track in September. I think it was in September. But anyway, she's back to the Curragh. Over 6 furlongs here, but this will be a real test in conditions. 10 miles of rain due to the Curragh on Sunday. I will get my money back on Sunday on Lady Jane Wild. And in the 5:35, your boy Gavin Ryan rides this Norviento. And I think that this could be one to forgive the last day. Its last run was disappointing, but it was in Listowel. Listowel soft ground is a law unto itself. So gets to come back here. I think he'd actually be fine on normal soft ground. He won his penultimate start in Cork. That form could be working out better, granted, but the form of his last run at the Curragh, which was 3 runs back, he was second. That's working out really well. And I think he can cope with a mark in the high 50s.
Excellent. So there are the best bets on Sunday in Ireland, and I'm going to suggest back in Manila Fair in the finale at Limerick, because I think he's a novice chaser going places because he loved soft ground through the winter. So now it's time for the bits you've all been waiting for. It is our best bets of the weekend. And Gavin Lynch, after your explosive debut last weekend,
Calm down, will you?
We're going to give you first dibs here.
Go for 3. Saturday Fairyhouse Euro Tiep in the bumper. Sunday Western Victory, she should win from the front, and internal transfer in the Munster National.
Okay, that's
the Ladbrokes Munster National.
Nice little treble. Nicola McGeady, your 3 for the weekend.
Thank you, Gavin. In the Cesarewitch, we're going to go with Ranch Hand. In the Carl Rockingham Stakes, Lampang. And in the Ladbrokes Munster National, I am going to go the same as you, Gavin, internal transfer.
Excellent. We like when opinions are the same. Brendan Duke, your 3 for the weekend.
2 on Saturday, the 4:10 in Newmarket, Billy Ray, the 3:10 in Limerick, Daduzart, and onto Sunday, the 2:05 in the Curragh, Lady Jane Wild.
Brendan Duke, if those 3 win, we will never see you again. Because
Never.
that is a retirement fund.
Oh yeah. No, that's it. Basically, if Billy Ray wins, I'm retiring from punditry, because it's a 50-1 mic drop, isn't it? I can't top that. What's
And
the
I'll be
point?
out of a job.
What's the point in coming back?
So viewers, this could be the last time you see the beautiful specimen of a man that is Mr. Brendan Duke. So absorb it all while you can. This could be the last time you see him.
Before we go, have you news, have you?
Have I news?
Go on.
What?
Go on.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be a daddy.
Well done.
Thanks.
Congrats.
We've already opened betting on the name.
God bless and save us.
We should run it, actually, for next
We
week.
have.
We'll have a...
Go on, what's favourite?
Dimitri.
Dimitri. Dimitri
I know
Jennings.
you love that name.
That has a nice ring to it. So there you go, folks. That's been this week's What's the Word. My thanks to Brendan Duke, to Nicola McGeady, to Gavin Lynch. I've been David Jennings. Enjoy the weekend.